in my grandma era with my cozy blankie and my tea. Thanks to Finch for the cup from the Renaissance Fair.
Oh yes, Minnesota Renaissance Fair. It's weird to think that was already almost a year ago.
I know.
Like my
I was thinking that
God.
too. It because it was in September, and that's literally right next door. I was
Right.
trying to think of words. Sorry, guys. My brain is on fumes right now.
You'd be proud of me. I am big jug of hydrating liquid
I am proud
because
of you.
I'm a thirsty bitch right now.
Dude, I don't know what's going on, but I've been in the same boat where I feel like constantly dehydrated, but maybe it's because I was gonna like allergy season is kind of in the mist right now. I don't know.
And it's July.
It's hot.
It's hot as hell. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh
Like
my goodness.
I heard you hated it. That like
Yeah,
there was
gosh.
just.
Trash movie. Just kidding.
Well, we'll start there right off the bat. What was your kind of initial impression walking into this thing?
I really enjoyed the movie, and I will preface that I did not see any spoilers. I knew nothing what to expect. I didn't even look up like the cast. All I knew was, Wolverine and Deadpool. Who else would be in there? I had absolutely no clue. So I think, um, with what we got to see with all like the cameos of everybody and like the team that got set up, it was a really good movie. And I think if you're thinking about one, two, and three, like I think one, of course, is the best, but I think they're all written really well.
Mhm. Yeah, and it was amazing, especially since like the first one, it was one of those. They didn't have a gigantic budget for that movie because Fox didn't have a lot of faith in it to begin with. Obviously, by the third one, they had Marvel money. They had MCU money going on, so it makes a little bit of a difference.
Oh yeah, the budget definitely was helpful. And with this one, like I think I didn't know anything about the girl. I forget her name already. It starts with like an N, right? The one that you were posting, like you said that you wish you could fix her.
Oh, Cassandra Nova.
Yeah, Nova. Is she written in the comics at all?
Oh, quite extensively. Yeah, she
Okay.
is Professor Xavier's twin from the womb, and they got into a fight in the womb, and she's basically evil Professor X. Although, if you're a comic fan right now, most people would ardently make the argument that Xavier ain't exactly a saint. So, but yeah, and Emma Corrin was the name of the actress who played her, and was just absolute top shelf. Like that ended up being, I think, one of the surprise things I really enjoyed about that movie.
That's what I was gonna ask because being able to see something that hasn't been presented because she wasn't in the movies previously. So to see that to actually come to life was pretty cool. As well as Channing Tatum as Gambit because he'd been trying to trying to get Gambit on the big screen for a while, right?
I think so, yeah. And I'm sort of the impression that I enjoyed it as a gag. I have to admit, I don't think I would want Channing Tatum playing Gambit in like a full length Gambit movie. Um, Not to throw any shade at him as an actor or anything, but he's a muscular dude, and Gambit in my mind has kind of always been this like skinny, agile, cat like moves. His accent though, his Cajun accent in that movie, like give a bonus to whoever his dialect coach was because it was really good.
Yeah, even though Deadpool knocked it in the movie, I thought it was pretty decent as well. And that was something that took me off guard. And I do think I feel the same about it too, because he's a big dude. And from especially watching like X-Men 97, that Gambit does tend to look more like leaner, longer. And I think that was the first thing I noticed, which I'm, not trying to like say anything. I like it when movies are very accurate to what is being seen like in the comics or TV, and he just seemed like, okay, we see that Gambit's on trend now. He's buff.
Yeah, yeah, and they did. Oh God, I almost hate bringing it up a version of Gambit in the X Men Origins Wolverine movie. Taylor Kitsch played Remy LeBeau, and I love Taylor as an actor, I really do. But it was just, it was not good. He couldn't decide from one scene to the next whether he had an accent or not. And the powers weren't represented very well. This was a very, like, power-wise and everything, like, very accurate Gambit. Like, it was like, I thought it was super smooth and really well done, and I thought it worked great as a scene in the movie.
Hmm. I agree too. I thought it was really good. And I also, speaking of really good scenes in the movie, what was it? The Honda Odyssey or something like that? Never
Yeah.
wanted that car more than, which was a really weird advertising. You would not think, because it looked like an older, like a 2012, 2014. And it just, he's like, this fucks. And that scene, could you imagine choreographing a fight scene in a Honda Odyssey?
Right.
The limited range for the camera alone, and then also fighting in it. That, I loved how they did that.
Hmm. Duking it out in an Odyssey. Like, Deadpool and Wolverine having an absolute throwdown in a Honda Odyssey was not on my 2024 bingo card at all.
Same.
Um, didn't see that one coming.
Dude, and pulling up with the gang, looking just, again, I didn't think that could go, like a Honda Odyssey and Badass would go together, but how they pulled out Wolverine at the end of it, jumping out of the trunk was amazing. I love that. And it was really good.
Yeah. Well, you come to figure out, if you want anything to look badass, put Hugh Jackman in
Oh
it,
my
and that'll just
God.
that'll take care of it.
Dude, and him in this movie, I keep seeing all the memes where it's like everyone had that moment of peace for 1 minute watching Hugh Jackman shirtless, men, women, the gays, the straights, the asexuals, everybody was like, I would not mind a slice of Hugh at this moment.
Yeah, and even us straight guys were like, respect,
Yeah, it's
respect.
like, I
Like,
gotta hit the gym now as soon as this is done.
no, I'm not. I give up. Like, there's no way. Like, there's no plausible way. So, you reach a certain point when it comes to the gym where your joints are going to burn up before the calories do. So, hats off to Hugh Jackman. Looks amazing. People who will not, is were like, I told you had a shit ton of room.
I know. I was just seeing them like all spread out in there too. I was like, this is the perfect vehicle.
Right? Yeah. It might be
That
my next
sliding
purchase.
door.
Get rid of the Jeep and buy an Odyssey.
Yeah, no, that I would approve. Um, the thing that I also thought was cool is that it looks like Blake Lively was in the movie as Lady Deadpool, correct?
Hmm.
That was pretty badass. That was, and like she fits the look very well.
Yeah, and that was kind of the debates that was going on, is who's Lady Deadpool. Of course, I think a lot of us assumed that in a movie we were going to get a mask off reveal. I was personally both fingers crossed for Taylor Swift, just because I'm a Swiftie. But I figured it was either that or Blake Lively, and Blake Lively you can definitely live with. But yeah, we never did get the mask off on that one.
I know. I was kind of bummed for that too, because I thought it'd be really great, and especially because when Deadpool referenced Blake in the movie, I was like, they're gonna probably do it, and they didn't. I was really bummed at that, but that's okay.
Yeah,
We know who it was.
yeah, especially when he says the line at the beginning of how many bones there are in the human body, but one more when I'm watching Gossip Girl.
Oh my God.
Blake Lively was in, so.
I know. It was great. And also, speaking of his wife in there, that his kids were the kid Deadpool and the baby Deadpool, which I thought was really cool too. He had like the whole family involved.
Yeah, the family that pulls together stays together, right?
Yes, in the Honda Odyssey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey was a Deadpool variant. I heard that too.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah, of all the Deadpool variants, I think, well, I mean, it wasn't a variant, but the one I got most excited about was at the end when Peter came out in the Deadpool costume, because I went, oh, I can cosplay that. I can do that. So that's on the list.
Dude, when we were watching that and his entrance of his walk up, all the screen, the big screen is just like right in my face is just his nuts. I was like, oh dear God.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that made me laugh, because a lot of times when you're a male doing a cosplay that's tight around that area at all, you wear a decency cup, But now I'm like, okay, apparently I need to get a couple bean bags. if I'm going to cosplay this.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great. I liked his addition in there too. And I'm trying to think of what else I liked with this one. 'Cause I maybe it's been a while since I watched the Deadpool movies. I did not refresh before this, unfortunately. But so we're in a different universe where his girlfriend is alive, right? Because she definitely was dead previously.
Yeah, but at the end of Deadpool 2, he went back in time and prevented her from dying.
And that completely escaped my mind.
Yeah.
I'm having early onset.
Yeah, he got Cable's time jumping device. Yeah, and was hopping around and did a couple different things, including killing the Deadpool version of himself from X-Men, which is Wolverine, preventing himself from doing Green Lantern.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's I completely forgot about that. That's
Hmm.
it's been a long time since it's come out though, like a couple years,
Yeah,
right?
it's been a few. I want to say 2017, I think.
Oh yeah, a lot's gone on for me since then.
Yeah, a little bit.
Trauma, a couple degrees.
couple,
I'm burnt out.
couple moves. Yeah.
Many
Um,
moves, yes. I think like three different states in that time.
oh my gosh, yeah, and getting degrees in college and meeting the coolest friend you've ever met in your life. These things add up.
Facts, they do. And obviously, I only have enough reserve for just my memories of Finch. Everything else blacked out.
Kayla's history began in September of 2022. Everything before that was a mistake.
Facts,
That's what I'm.
facts. That'd be
That's
straight
what I'm going with.
to you.
The funny thing is that being somebody who is a gigantic Wolverine fan and has been since I was a kid. I mean, my youngest son is named Logan. Is that in 2016 when the Logan movie came out? For me personally, it was like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit hard to watch, like especially at the end when he dies, because it's like such a heart wrenching scene. And that's probably one of the movies with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine that I've watched the least amount of times, just because again it's difficult for me emotionally to go back and kind of absorb all that. So you would think that like the opening of this movie, where Deadpool goes to dig his body up, and because he's like, oh, he regenerates, he's fine, and digs him up and just finds a metal skeleton with like decrepit, rotted flesh hanging off of it,
And
and
some
pulls it out,
hair.
sits there with a little bit of hair, and then proceeds to use the bones of our dead hero to off a bunch of TVA agents. Like you would think that would just be like the worst thing in the world for me. I was dying laughing. It was so funny.
Dude, I know. I was like, way to use your resources. That's called innovation right there,
Right.
baby.
Yeah. And I've had Bye 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 stuck in my head ever since.
Oh my God, yeah. Which I remember I was on TikTok where there was a guy who did his backup dancing. Part of me really hoped that was Ryan Reynolds, but severely disappointed. But the guy did a really good job, and everyone was like, it may not be Ryan, but he is still this guy is Deadpool in this moment, right? The suit makes you Deadpool, and I think that captured that very well.
Yeah, I thought so too. And then, the cool thing for me also as a Wolverine fan is that after that we have the sequence where Deadpool is like hopping from timeline to timeline, trying to find a Wolverine. And we got so much comic book fan eye candy out of that. Like we got to see the classic John Byrne where he's in the yellow and brown and it has his claws and you can see the Hulk's reflection in him, which is like a classic Wolverine cover. We got to see the crucified Wolverine. We got to see Old Man Logan. We got to see Cavalrine with Henry Cavill making the appearance as Wolverine, which I was dying laughing. We got to see the really cool Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, where he only had the one hand and the really long hair, and it was just like crazy savage. And then we got the screen accurate 5'3" Wolverine.
I thought of you in that moment. I was like, I know Finch is gonna love that.
Yes, it was. Oh my god! Now you know why. When they went to make the first movie, they didn't try to find an actor who was comic book accurate height because the camera would constantly be like,
Yes, that guy looks so small. I thought it was great too, nodding to all of the different versions of him from the comic books. Like even I knew what they were referencing to, which was nice. But I think that this movie, it really felt like it appealed to the fans. You know, it really brought out the things that everyone wanted to see, and that was a really good moment that we got to see all the different sides of Wolverine. That I think that they were really doing it for us versus just, to add something to the story.
oh yeah, and definitely I loved how the movie also didn't have a problem taking shots at Fox.
Oh my God,
You
that
know,
was great. And then like the broken sign on the ground.
yeah. And when he's first at the TVA and they're like, oh, we want you to join the sacred timeline. And he's like, okay, give me 1 second. He's like, come here to the camera. Fuck you, Fox. Like, that was so great. And I don't know what about you, but for me, it was sort of like I was sitting in a theater where for some reason there wasn't a ton of reaction from a lot of the fans. And there were several of those scenes like that one where I was just like dying. Like, oh, like you can't keep it in.
Oh yeah, no, I was in a, what's the word to call it? Um, I was in a movie theater that it felt kind of like off the grid. It was definitely not like a standard movie theater, and the audience was very lackluster, and like a majority of the people left before the credits scene even started. Like, yeah.
I had Gilbert. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was Hugh Jackman playing Old Man
Hmm.
Logan. I'd have to go back and look. It never occurred to me till you said that, but I'm going to have to go back and look. I'm pretty sure it was. They just kind of aged him up really well and kind of gave him the leathery skin. But yeah, I'll have to check again.
Yeah, I think it was. And then I had that too. My wife kept telling me to be quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, there were some really, really good moments that, yeah, if you weren't being audible, you're probably not a fan.
right. Yeah, and the like I think the one from the seeing in the theater I remember the most when they were meeting with the Blade and Elektra. And we'll get into that in just a second. And they kind of mention all the heroes who have died, and somebody mentions oh Daredevil, and Elektra's like like that was the one I died laughing the most at, and
You
dead
know,
silence in the theater, and I was busting up.
oh my gosh, when we saw Chris Evans as Johnny, that was something like I liked how they were leading. He's like, "Oh, he's gonna go Avenger," and then boom, just into the sky. What was your reaction? I really wish I could have been in the theater with you, watching it alongside. But what was your reaction for that?
Well, I think it was a really good bait because I had texted you and told you like the day before I saw a TikTok spoiler that was just where Chris Evans where he jumps down off the thing and pulled his hood down. It was Chris Evans, and I immediately swiped away and didn't watch the rest of it. So I think like a lot of people, I assumed he was making a cameo as Cap, and I'm like, oh okay. And then when he went flame on, I was just like, no, that is awesome.
I No, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that was very refreshing to see. And one, I just wasn't expecting him in his entirety because I'm like, I thought he said like Cap is done. He was
Yeah.
correct. Cap is done.
Mhm.
That was good. And then like I remember when everyone was making their entrance, and then when Blade came, that was the one time that the theater was extremely audible,
Mhm.
where everyone was like. I remember seeing the comments too. People were like, we were clutching our pearls with every entrance, especially with Blade. And I was like, dude, he was so badass.
Yeah, and there was we kind of felt like going into the movie there were going to be a ton of cameos, and there were some that I think, expecting without any cause that I never got. But Blade was not one I was expecting at all. When he first popped on screen, it was like, no way, like what? And yeah, they definitely, they kind of did. James, knock it off with the Mephisto shit. Like, just knock it off. It's a running gag. I love it. But yeah, Blade, I was not expecting. Jennifer Garner looked great as Elektra. Hold my heart in my hand when Daphne Keene shows up as X-23. Like, oh, I could have like died. I mean, we found out a couple days before that she was in the movie, that she was reprising the role from Logan, and I thought it was absolutely excellent.
Yeah, I think she did a really good job too. And just I had watched some clips before too of when she was in the X-Men movie, and her scream was almost identical. Like it was kind of crazy that how much she's aged, which is still, it's not a huge age, but like to have an almost identical piercing scream and the running and the aggression, it just was like almost carbon copy. She did such a good job.
The red teleporting devil, yeah, Azazel. Thank you, Gilbert. That's Azazel, who in the comics is Nightcrawler's father, as I recall. I don't know. They did a whole no, because they keep retconning it. But anyway, he's basically has Nightcrawler's powers. He's just red instead of blue. But yeah, he was in X-Men First Class. Um, yeah, that was the only one he was in. I think you see a scene of like a picture of his post-mortem body in Days of Future Past. But yeah, I think First Class the only one he's actually in.
Mm.
And we did
Yeah.
see a bunch of those cameos in there from the old X-Men movies. Like Pyro was in there. Oh, genetic donor. Okay, they keep retconning that stuff, and then when you take a couple year break from the X-Men comics, come back, you're like, wait, like because we always thought that like Mystique was.
Timu.
That's fair. You could say that. Like Mystique was Nightcrawler's mom, but no, Mystique is Nightcrawler's dad. Yeah, shit gets convoluted.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, I believe Destiny is his mother. Is that right, Gilbert? Gilbert or no? He can call me on this X shit. Um, but yeah, we saw Pyro. We saw. I thought we were gonna have a bigger Wolverine Sabretooth fight. Like they kind of like propped it up in the promo, like this was gonna be like the throwdown that we've been waiting for, and yeah, Logan just one swiped him.
I know that was something that was interesting too. There was someone sitting next to me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so ready for this. I can't wait." And then when it happened, he was just like, "Oh." But I guess I don't know. It with this Wolverine variant, did he live up to what you were expecting him to be?
I think so. They did a little bit. There were hints of the old man story line in the sense that you kind of like, found a Wolverine like in the future who was sort of like spiritually broken. All the X-Men were dead. It was his fault. And he was just sort of like, dejected and haunted. And, so that's what you saw in here, especially when they kind of did like the flashback of him standing amongst all the gravestones of all the X-Men, and first of all, we got to talk about like the whole, like, because Cassandra Nova like reaching into people's brains, like that
Quite
whole
literally.
finger thing was like
I
wild.
know. It made my skin crawl to see that happening.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
because like with Logan, he was like invisible pain, but when they were in his head, he was like granted more emotional pain, but he wasn't like it wasn't visceral.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just gonna say it again. I want more Cassandra Nova. I don't know how we're gonna get her, but she was just so fucking phenomenal in that movie.
I know she was really good. She played crazy really well.
Yeah, and she is crazy. You read the comics, that bitch is nuts. Like so, and she like role wise, like absolutely nailed it. I was kind of wondered. I think like you that like they were sort of like going to give her like maybe she's not so bad, and kind of like help them, blah 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 blah. And then like at the end, no, she was like the
Fuck
eternal
you
bad.
guys.
Yeah.
I know. I was sitting there when I saw her in that scene. Yeah, my inner dietitian came out, and I was just like identifying all these signs of like potential malnutrition because of how like frail she looked. Oh my goodness gracious, that girl had bones popping out everywhere, and I was like, is that what she looks like in the comics as well? Because that was a little frightening.
Usually much shorter, and they portray her like looking more aged, like more sunken in cheeks, kind of thing. Um, yeah, there's like history upon history. Like we could do like a whole series of episodes if we just wanted to talk about Cassandra Nova. But yeah, and she's one of it's one of those funny things about acting because whenever you see that, if you like Google that actress and what she looks like you can see the resemblance. But once she has hair and everything, yeah, she almost looks like a completely different person.
Oh my gosh, yeah, hair does wonders. It's like the push-up bra for the head.
Yeah, yeah, her head is oversized. That's true, Gilbert. She's a bit of a bobblehead in the comics because things in utero didn't go well for her. So tried to strangle her brother with the umbilical cord, I think. And
Didn't
yeah,
work out. How did
yeah.
she end up? What was her story? How did he overpower
Uh,
her?
um, trying to remember. I believe it was like partially physical, partially telepathic, which to me like kind of like didn't entirely make sense since mutants don't like manifest their powers until their puberty, but some do. Some like Omega level mutants tend to manifest theirs a lot earlier. And I got to admit, it's probably been 20 years since I've read those books. It's been a long time. Like they got into that in the whole like New Mutants or New X-Men run, and I wasn't a fan of that run. So I think I like read it once and then was like, okay, I want to pretend I never read this again. But yeah.
Moving on. Yeah. So with the movie, what would be your ranking out of 10?
Probably at least a 12, I would say, out of 10. I thought it was really good. I see some people out there, they're like, meh, 7 out of 10. Shut up. Like, stop trying to be a contrarian. It was good. It was really, really good. I've seen TikToks, a lot of very angry moms storming out of the theater, and that makes me happy, like to no end. Like I love it when like a Karen can't handle it, and has to walk out of the movie theater, and it's
Oh
like
my
it's
goodness.
rated R, you dumbass. Like, what did you think it was? It was like I don't know if you remember when the first Deadpool came out,
Oh yeah,
and
same
like moms.
kind of controversy.
Yeah, moms were taking their kids to the movie theater, assuming it was like Captain America or Iron Man, and then walking out of the theater demanding their money back. And it's like it's rated R. Like I wouldn't give you your money back if you don't pay attention to the fact that it's rated R. I don't know what you thought you were like. This wasn't Inside Out, okay? Like this isn't Moana, right?
This isn't Moana
Yeah.
variant Deadpool.
Oh, I got to get on that right now. Is that your
Yeah,
next cosplay? Are you gonna do Moana pool?
Moana pool. That might be some cultural appropriation, but if, anything goes with the Deadpool variant, right?
Yeah, yeah. You can do whatever you want, and then if people get mad, be like, "Yeah, this Deadpool's a prick."
Yeah, it's in the code.
Yeah.
Um, I would say, yeah, if you are that much of a stickler, or if you're bringing kids to movies where you feel uncomfortable for certain things, research the movie. But I feel like people forgotten how to use Google. Like if you see TikTok in the comments, it's like, how do I do this? How, like, does this apply to this? What's my substitute for that? It's like, just Google it. Y'all just, you're gonna be waiting weeks, if at all, for an answer. Just do your little bit of research. It takes 2 minutes. You can be like, should an 8-year-old watch this? Yay or nay?
Well, especially when you're to the point where it's the third one. Like, did you not see the first two? Did you think it was going to be kumbaya for 2.5 fucking
Oh
hours?
my goodness.
Like, what did you think was going to happen?
You know, and sometimes I think about that because when I see people who come to the movies, especially Marvel movies, this is the third one. Why are y'all leaving before the credit scene? Like that makes me feel like they must have skipped 1 and 2, or all Marvel movies, and this is their first one. Or if they just choose to wait and find it somewhere else, I'm just like, y'all are ruining your experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they had during the credits that really cool montage. That was kind of like a send off to the Fox movies. I
That
thought
was
that was
so cute.
it was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that too. That was a really nice way to kind of wrap it up because the thing that I'm glad that they directed to saying like, yeah, the variant thing, it's overdone. This is kind of the wraps on that, and that they're just gonna be moving forward. But now that Deadpool and Wolverine are kind of existing into this timeline, are we gonna see both of them? Or are we just gonna see Deadpool? Like, I don't know what to expect because they did reference, okay, we're gonna work him till he's 90 for Wolverine.
Which is the way I felt like the next day when they announced that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back as Dr. Doom. I'm like, they're going to work him till he's 90. Like that guy.
I know.
But with that being said, like, I feel like my theory is that Avengers Secret Wars is going to be the end of the multiverse saga. Because in the comics it was. Like that's what Secret Wars was in the comics, was this sort of like multi-dimensional war slash everything colliding together kind of thing. I would love to see Wolverine and Deadpool in that. Like I would love to see them like joining in with the Avengers, that what the current Avengers roster, whatever it would be, there, because that would just be a lot of fun. That's the only thing I felt like we missed out on as the course of the MCU, is I would have loved to have on screen seen a conversation between Wolverine and Iron Man, because that would have been just like, you want to talk about like oil and vinegar, like no.
Yeah, no, that would have been really interesting. And so I'm seeing Gilbert has that in there too, that they'll be in the next Avengers movies. Yeah, I think that'll be cool to, the death of one Logan doesn't mean anything. They're just moving forward with it. So I hope they do it tastefully.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. Obviously when you know Hugh Jackman did Logan in 2016, he was very emphatic that that was it. Like that was the last time he was playing the role. That was the last time he was gonna do a Wolverine movie. And at the time, I think he legitimately believed that. But when Ryan Reynolds calls and is like, "Hey," especially
Yeah.
since they spent two Deadpool movies making references to Hugh Jackman and Wolverine throughout the movies, that like it just felt like it was in the cosmos, like it had to happen.
Oh yeah, they manifested that.
Yeah, absolutely, they did.
I'm glad they pulled it off too because they did a really good job with it and I liked it quite a bit.
Mhm.
And who can't miss it? Like that paycheck is gonna be crazy.
Right? Yeah, that's what I thought was so funny, is because he had agreed to do the movie without talking to his agent first. Like he was just on the phone with Ryan Reynolds, and he told him on the phone, he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and then called his agent. By the way, I took this role. Like
Yeah, it's
nothing.
gonna be fun.
Yeah, nothing negotiated between studio and agent and money. Just whatever it is, I'm doing the movie. Figure it out.
Respect. I'm
Yes.
glad that he was all in for it, despite like previously being like, I am really ready to be done.
Hmm. Yeah, especially because I mean, it was and it's been referenced a lot, but it was so insanely cool that for somebody who had been playing the character for so long, and yet we finally got the yellow costume. Like it was either black leather or jeans and flannel, like this whole time. And okay, fine, but it's like to finally, yes, yes, put on the yellow costume. And even at the end of the movie where we got like the full cowl coming on thing, that was just freaking wicked.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think how he referenced, this Wolverine saying like why he hadn't worn the suit and then why he put it on. It felt really
Mm.
good. Like I think that it gave a lot more importance versus him just showing up in the suit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was excellent. So we both give it many, 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 many stars. More stars there in the cosmos. Neil
Yeah.
deGrasse Tyson reference.
Pass the
Um,
rank.
yeah. Now we just got to wait and see, what happens next.
What is the next upcoming Marvel movie?
Captain America: Brave New World, I believe, is the next one.
You're right, because they did have that on the theater preview.
Yeah, we're getting Red Hulk on that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's got me stoked. Like that was, and for people who don't know, maybe I'm giving you a gigantic spoiler, but it shouldn't be that big of a spoiler. But in the comics, it was Ross who became Red Hulk, and in this movie, Ross is Harrison Ford as the president. So we're going to get Harrison Ford Red Hulk in this movie, and I'm actually pretty damn excited about it.
Yeah,
Hey, dude,
no,
yeah, we're just recapping Deadpool and Wolverine.
that sounds like I love Harrison Ford, and I think that this will be pretty badass to see him in that role too. And I know Venom, the new Venom movie is also coming out, which that was something I was watching. We got to see. Did you get to see the trailer for that on your
N-
side?
No, you told me that when you went and saw it, you got the Venom trailer, and
Hmm.
we didn't at my theater. I was like ready for it, and then when the movie
Oh,
started, I'm like, oh, we never got Venom trailer.
oh gosh, yeah, you should watch it. It looks like it's gonna be something good. So I'm excited for that one, although I don't remember the release date.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
was eating a
some.
pub sub and was a little distracted, downing all my candy.
in, in Kayla's bag of holding that she sneaks into movie theaters all the time, and it is there's like she like pulls out a whole like board of like sliced cheese and meats and you know
Sushi.
your sushi, a bottle of wine, Dixie cups. Like it's a good old fashioned picnic up in your theater.
Basically, yeah. I don't post often on here, but when I do, it tends to be when I'm going to the movies. And I was like, people should know by now that I love sneaking things in, which I know you're not supposed to, but am I gonna do it? Yes. In this economy, definitely.
Yeah,
I already paid $20 to go see the movie. I
yeah,
need to have my cheap snacks or at least more affordable options.
yeah. I'm not paying $7 for nachos. Like I'm sorry, especially when they're stale chips and there's a film on top of the cheese. Like I'm just not doing that.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no. I wanted to have something delectable. I did bring, I think, like fried chicken once into a movie theater. The
Was it
aroma was
hot?
just
Was it hot? Like,
so
how'd they not spell it? Like, we can't search you, but bitch, you got KFC. Like, like we smell the original recipe from over here,
that
and the mashed
gravy.
potatoes, and the corn. Like,
Yeah, I brisked through there because I luckily the new movie theater that I found, if you get your tickets online, you just scan this thing on a little computer and then you just go through and then you just have to give the stub in and as quick as that you keep walking. Took me like 10 seconds. So I don't even know. They probably got the whiff after I was departed and they might be like, is that her or is that something she's bringing with her? Could you imagine if I just had like a fragrance of KFC
yeah,
or sandwiches?
they got a security guard at the theater who's like a bloodhound who's like all of a sudden just talking. All of a sudden he's like,
I smell fried chicken.
some bitches got chicken in here. Popeyes is not going to the movies. Like,
Yeah, I'm like, if I was at home, this is what I would be doing. And they say make yourself like you're at home. I bring my blanket and then I bring out my food.
yeah, make yourself at home. Except for the fact when I show up in boxers, they're like, no, no.
Yeah, there's always a fine line, right?
Yeah, Finch, we've talked about this. You no, okay,
Next time, bud, you're out.
yeah, and no,
We
not
have a
just a
pair of
robe.
sweatpants for you now.
You're right. Yeah, we have a Finch box over here. We used to call it Lost and Found, but now it's just the crap we give to Finch when he shows up to a movie. So yeah,
So yeah, so overall, great movie. We have some more fun movies on the horizon, and then also some pods that will be coming out, some more shorter ones. So thank you everybody for staying tuned. Finch, was there anything else that you wanted
that
to say?
that is it. Sorry, Ryan, you came in right at the end of this thing. But anybody who's listening to this will be posted as a regular podcast and on YouTube by tomorrow, maybe Thursday at the latest. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining in, chatting with us. Hope you enjoyed the movie. Let us know in the comments section elsewhere what you thought. And yeah, outside of it, it was an amazing movie.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks everybody. Oh wow.
Woo! Woo! Oh, mine doesn't do
That's
it.
okay.
Whatever.
My phone usually doesn't recognize that. But bye everybody. Enjoy the 4th of July.
Yeah, peace out, everybody. Adios.
Bye.